Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's possible for anyone to live in this day and age without a smartphone? You can leave your opinion in the comment section, but here's my opinion. It is possible, but that's if you live under a rock. It is difficult, especially for millennials. A lot of the things that we do requires the internet. Even the most traditional jobs such as farming, caregiving have been linked to the internet. How then do you avoid using a smartphone? It's like swimming in an ocean and saying you do not want to be wet. How realistic is that? And that is why advice such as uninstall all your distracting apps, keep your smartphone away from you as much as possible as a way to curb smartphone distraction hardly work. If you have uninstalled distracting apps before, didn't you find a reason to reinstall them? Even if you have kept your phone away, was your mind detached from the phone? Were you not thinking of the messages that you did not respond to or the information you are missing out on? You see why I said it's unrealistic? A more realistic approach is what I term the eliminate plus limit approach. How does that work? Before we dive into that, I want to welcome you to Smartphone for Good, a channel for app reviews, tips, and tricks to turn your smartphone into a powerful ally and not your enemy. My name is Onizi, so let's get back to business. The first of the approach is the eliminate. It requires you to identify those apps that are distracting to you and yet of no value to you. The best solution to them is just to uninstall them and say good riddance to bad rubbish. And if you ever have a reason to use them temporarily, my advice to you is this: don't reinstall them. Rather, use them via their web version in incognito. This way, your browser doesn't save the pages in its history, giving you quick access next time. This means that every time that you have to use the site, you'd have to log in with your password. And from experience, I noticed that the interface of most of these apps, especially that of social media, are uninteresting when you use them via their web version. So when you consider these tips, you'll be less interested in using the site except it's for a good reason. The second part of the approach is the limit. Like you must have guessed already, it requires you to identify those apps that are distracting to you and yet valuable to you. In this situation, you cannot throw the baby out with the water bath. Your best bet is to limit their usage. Fortunately, there are built-in tools in your phone that can serve this purpose very well. I'll mention the ones that I know that are present in Android 11 or Samsung and iPhone. If any of the tools that I'll mention is not present in your type of phone or you have used them and they have not been very helpful, then you need a third-party app that you can download from your app store. In my next video, I'll be mentioning some of these apps. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, this is the time to do so. Hit the notification bell so that you can be the first to be notified when the video drops. The first on our list of built-in tools is the Freeze app. It works by inactivating other apps, more like partially uninstalling them. All you need to do is open it, pick your distracting apps, and they are frozen. I know you might want to counter me and say, isn't it easy for you to unfreeze this app whenever you want to? That is true. But I noticed that because of most people's smartphone distraction is the ease of access to these apps. You know, when you randomly scroll your home screen, even if you did not intend to open these apps, when you see them, you become tempted to. But with Freeze app, you don't have to stumble on this app anymore. You have to be intentional about wanting to open them before you use them. Also, I noticed that built-in tools cannot be frozen. For example, YouTube is an inbuilt tool in my phone, so I cannot freeze it. What I do instead is go to my app settings, open YouTube, and disable it. It works like freezing as well. Have you ever felt that it is that time that you have determined to work that you get those irresistible calls? I totally get you. And that leads us to our second tool, which is do not disturb. Do not disturb works by suspending calls and notification. One thing I like about do not disturb as it gets putting your phone on silence is that on the part of the caller, it shows that your number is not going through. But when you turn it off, the call will drop as missed call and then you can return it. One complaint I see people make about do not disturb is that once the caller persists, the call will come in. But you can easily resolve that in your settings. You can allow and disallow interruptions from certain apps and contacts as you desire. The third app on the list is the focus mode. This allows you pause certain apps that you have identified as distracting during a scheduled period of the day. This could be your work time or the time that you have allocated to do something that require complete focus. Which means that if you schedule a time between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., once it is 9 a.m., the apps will pause and resume by 5 p.m. You can decide to set a break time, which I do not advise to be more than 5 minutes, to help you quickly access these apps during this interval. Once you have exhausted your break time, the app will automatically log you out. Also know that you can turn on focus mode at random times of the day. All you need to do is add it to your quick access center so that you can easily turn it on and off. And the fourth on our list is the app timer. It allows you allot specific usage time to the apps on your phone, which means that once you have exhausted the time, the app is going to pause till the next day. And one thing I really like about this too is that it doesn't just apply to apps. You can use them to control your usage of specific websites as well, such that those apps that you have uninstalled from your phone, you can still control their usage when you have to use them from their web version. And the fifth, which is the last, is not really a tool. It's a feature on YouTube which works like app timer. It allows you to allot certain amount of time that you want to use whenever you log on YouTube. And once you have exhausted that time, it will send you a notification asking you to either take a break or it will automatically log you out based on your preferred setting. And now that you understand when to eliminate and limit, I believe that if you combine the both, you will have more control over your smartphone usage time and be able to profitably account for your time. So, are there inbuilt tools in your phone that help you stay productive that I did not mention? I would like to know. Please write in the comment section. And if this video was any helpful to you, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to this channel. Catch you in the next video.